The Sense Ride is back. Oh yeah. The Salomon Sense Ride 4 is here. As you can tell, I'm pretty excited about it. If you remember from over the years, the first version of the Sense Ride was one of my surprise hits from Salomon. A low-stack, cushioned, race-ready trail ripper primed for rugged PRs and switchback shredding. The second version, unfortunately, took away a lot of that joy. The third version took over the lineage like a tank on steroids, leaving me with a hole in my heart for what made the original great. This, the fourth version, fills a bit of that hole while carrying over some of what made the 3 a worthy trail shoe. The new mesh upper's sense of fit is super similar to version 1. Some repositioned welded overlays change the look slightly, and the Optivibe midsole and Contagrip outsole stay the same. The big changes come in the heel, where a redesigned heel counter and lockdown inside the cuff change the fit of the shoe for the better, and give some of those original, light, fast, and fun vibes that I've missed. So, do the subtle new changes to the fourth version of the Salomon Sense Ride push the shoe far enough to make it another winner, or is the carryover from the heavier, bulkier third version enough to knock it back a few steps? Well, let's find out in today's review. Welcome.
Ginger Runner.
What is up, everybody? Ethan Newberry, the Ginger Runner, here for another Ginger Runner review. Today we're going to be talking all about the Salomon Sense Ride 4. As I mentioned there in the intro, the Sense Ride 1 was one of my favorite trail shoes from that year that it came out, and each version since then has changed it dramatically. I'm happy to report that the Sense Ride 4 kind of goes back to the original while still keeping what made the other versions bigger and bulkier, but still very sturdy trail shoes. We're going to talk all about all of these changes, the things I like and dislike, of course, in this review. But as always, I need to start out by saying that this shoe was provided for review by Running Warehouse. I'm under no obligation to say anything whatsoever. I'm not financially compensated. You are the first to see this review. That's it. Let's move on with this thing. So as always, in all of my reviews, I like to talk about the things I like and dislike about a product. These are no different. Let's start, as always, with the things that I like. Starting with heel lock. So this is probably the biggest change that separates the 4 from the 3. I mean, even just looking at them, you'd think that they could possibly be the same shoe. They're not. As you can see inside of the heel, Salomon added some bolster, some additional cushioning, while also limiting the actual thickness of the materials used in the upper. So you lose a bit of that additional weight while simultaneously allowing a bit more grip around the heel. This is a huge plus. I never really had fitment issues in the heel. It just was really overly built. This kind of goes back to the original. So when you put this shoe on and you feel it around your heel, your midfoot, and your forefoot, it begins to sort of harken back to that original lightweight, flexible, semi-cushioned, responsive race-ready trail shoe. So I like what they've done with the heel just in the fitment department. It's better, it's more comfortable. That's a huge thumbs up. Durability. So this is a carryover from the Sense Ride 3. I think the new materials that they're using in the last 2 versions obviously hold up really, really well. There were some issues in the first version. Some of those carried over to the second, but here we have materials that just do really well. It's a new mesh, some repositioned welded overlays that do a really good job. But now with about 60 miles in the shoe, I've been doing a lot of my vert training in this just because it's a lot of fun. I'm really showing very little signs of wear, and that is a really good thing. I think it's a testament to the materials that they're using. Nice job, Salomon. Another carryover, protection. I thought that the third version of the Sense Ride right here did wonders in contributing to overall protection of your foot from all of the elements, whether it's weather or trail-oriented technical stuff. It just did a really good job of protecting. That carries over to the fourth. The Contagrip outsole rubber, the Optivibe midsole do a really good job from underneath. That flex film, and then everything else in the upper just does a good job. Plenty of toe overlays, welded stuff. These are gonna hold up really quite well in all sorts of conditions. And our final like, and I wanna point this out, is that it is getting closer to the original. And that to me is a subtle like. I'm glad to see it. That original Sense Ride was a bit of a surprise hit for me from Salomon. It had that balance of cushioning and flexibility and lightness. It just did so much so well. One of the ways this is moving away from the third version and more towards the original version is just in the weight department. The Sense Ride 3 weighed in about 345 grams in my size 11. We're at 325 grams in my size 11. That is a 20-gram weight loss, which is about 0.88 ounces. That's pretty considerable. I think it's happening in the heel. I think there's some other material choices here that do contribute to that weight loss. Overall, we're getting closer to that original with the added benefit of durability and protection. So far, Sense Ride 4, a really good thing. That being said, it is not all push pops and brain freezes. There are a couple of things that I dislike about the Sense Ride 4. Let's get to those now. The break-in. I actually haven't mentioned this much in the previous versions of the Sense Ride. I really noticed it in the 4 more so. It just takes some time to break it in. Like I said, about 60 miles in the shoe, I'm just now beginning to feel the shoe open up, and that is what I want right out of the box. I think Salomons always require a bit of break-in. It just took a little bit longer in the Sense Ride 4. Not that the materials are drastically different, it's just the shape, the feel, the form. It's gonna open up for you after you put more time in the shoe. Insole movement. So the insole in this is super light and thin. It moves around a lot. You can even see that mine is a bit folded over there in the heel, which, isn't a huge issue. Barely even notice it. It is a problem though when you start getting into wet and inclement weather environments, creek crossings and the like. The wetter you get this shoe, the more that insole wants to slide around. It's just a problem that I wish Salomon could solve. Dab of glue, little tabs, something to keep that insole in place, because it's ortholite, it feels good, it adds a little bit of cushioning, and we need that in a shoe that is this responsive. And finally, this is just my opinion. I'm just gonna mention it because I know Salomon watches these reviews. Still not the first version. So the first version had its fair share of problems, but one thing that it did have was a little bit of cushioning, just that little bit of give that made it a really fun, comfortable shoe variant from Salomon. It was kind of unlike anything else that I'd run in from them. That includes the Sense Pros, which is one of my earlier favorite shoes from them. I wish we could get closer to that original version. Just a little bit more give in the midsole, a little bit more flexibility through the last. We're close. Not quite there. So I'm gonna call it a dislike. For those who never wore the first version, of course, it's gonna be a meaningless dislike to you, but as someone who has worn every single version of the shoe since it was dropped, I notice it, I wanna just mention it. But that is it for dislikes. In conclusion, the Sense Ride 4 is as close as we have come to the original version of the Sense Ride, carrying over what's been great with the subsequent versions while also getting us close to what made the original great. We have a solid trail contender for those who want to go fast, for those who want to go long, be protected, have plenty of grip, and an overall durability shoe. I'll get there eventually. While it is still more responsive than the original, doesn't have that little layer of give. Some people really like and crave that responsive shoe. The midsole does provide that added protection. Because of the responsiveness, it does lack a bit of give. Yeah, it's still comfy for longer ultras and longer runs, and it will provide you with that extra protection that you might need. The Sense Ride 4 is certainly a nice step in the right direction. Way to go, Salomon. Let's get a little bit more specific, talking about build quality. As I mentioned, it's a very durable shoe, much better than the first version and second version. The materials are great. Salomon is, fairly well known for their durable comfort. It's not as comfortable as the original. We're not getting that soft layer underneath. The ortholite insole is where you're gonna get the most cushioning. That tends to wear out or at least flatten pretty quickly. So if you're into a responsive ride with a little bit of give that has an 8mm stack, this is a great option. Fit, I call this a precision fit. They use, of course, their tried and true buckle system. It's a bit better than the last version, has a little bit more length to it, so it will accommodate a wider variety of feet. I still have a problem tucking it into the lace pocket there, but as far as midfoot's concerned, if you are familiar with any Salomon shoes fit, these will do a good job. They have a bit more volume through the toe box from other Salomon shoes, not from the previous versions of the Sense Rides. It's gonna work for some people, not all. I like it. I think it works with my foot just fine. Price, at $120, it's a pretty dang good price. And this is something that I really liked about the previous versions of the Sense Rides, is that price point gets you a really solid, durable, protective ride that'll work for all sorts of distances, training and racing, and is just a really solid trail shoe at $120 from Salomon. And finally, looks. I don't think this is the best looking version. It's quite similar to the previous. There's nothing bold or exciting about this. I do like the red and black version, which I've seen online in a couple of places. That's kind of cool. But as far as looks are concerned, it's pretty standard. Bringing us to our final criteria, is the Sense Ride 4 from Salomon a buy, try, or a why? As you can probably guess, it's a try. Leaning into the buy category. If you're familiar with the Sense Rides, from first through third version, I think you will really like the fourth version, especially if you like the third version. This is a better version than that, but they're still so dang close. If you are not familiar with the lineage, it's certainly going to be one of those that I would recommend trying on. It's going to give you a bit of a different ride, something pretty exciting, fast, and fun. That's it. So now my question turns to you. Have you run in any of the Sense Ride series? What is your favorite? Have you run in the 4, or are you excited about the 4? Because I think it's a step in the right direction. If you do, or if you have any comments or anything like that, drop them into the comment section of this video. Otherwise, if you want more information or you want to get a pair for yourself, I have links in the description that will take you over to Running Warehouse. You can use those links. They are affiliate links, so they do help us out. They cost you nothing. It just helps the channel out. So consider that if you haven't in the past. And if you are a Patreon subscriber, there are discount coupons and stuff on Patreon that will get you some added discounts on certain items on their store. So that's going to be it for today's review. If you like this review, make sure you like, favorite, subscribe to the channel, click the notification bell to find out anytime I upload anything new or go live. We're doing live shows every single day. Social media links, use them. And at the bottom there, patreon.com/thegingerrunner. Again, lots of perks on the back end from discount codes. We're doing daily live streams talking about shoes, gear, training, all sorts of fun stuff. There's more fun stuff happening, including races such as the Tiger Claw Virtual event, which is happening in May 8th and 9th. You're not going to want to miss it. That's where you can not miss it. Okay? That's it. Thanks, everyone. We hope you're getting out there training hard, racing harder, and partying the hardest. I know I am. We'll see you guys next week for more fun. Bye-bye.